I'm Kevin Michalowski, editor of Concealed Carry Magazine, and this is Meet the Pressers.
Brilliant.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Henry Repeating Arms, made in America or not made at all. XS Sights, fast sights in any light. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, organizations, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Klint Macro and this is Matthew Mallory. We're Meet the Pressers. Meet the Pressers is a safe place for trigger pressers to congregate and talk about guns, gear, gadgets, training, political activism, religion, whatever, so long as it's trigger related. And we are here today at the 2025 SHOT Show in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada at the Grand Old Otis Entertainment Complex.
Yes, we are.
Compliments of Otis, they're one of our sponsors. And Matt is going to introduce a very, very special guest and a return guest.
Yes, very much so. Kevin Michalowski is with us today. He's the director of content and the editor of the Concealed Carry Magazine.
For the United States Concealed Carry Association, and I'm so happy this is a safe place.
It is
a safe. I feel
safe
like
place.
Lately I kind of need that. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's getting better as of Monday.
Yeah. Things are going well.
Yeah.
You know, and actually I was telling you a story earlier. I saw the Secret Service for the Vice President buying some stuff here at the SHOT Show. So they were here looking around, making sure they can keep that protection detail in place.
They need to be protected. There's a bunch of loonies out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about, man?
Oh, there's so much. So what? I think probably one of the good topics would be to talk about the firestorm out there on the internet and try to dispel some negativity that's going around about cases and such with the USCCA. How's that sound?
And first, I want to say, I don't like the word firestorm anymore. I thought firestorm until I got here, and we started talking to some other people, and people were like, "What? No, I hadn't heard of it." So, to clear the air. Yes, there have been some competitors to the USCCA who have been speaking about two of our cases. And we have 850,000 members. We're talking about two of our cases that have upset them, but they're not giving all the facts. And we want to talk about that. The Kayla Giles case, it's now almost 7 years old. So back in 2018, this case came up. And yes, rightly so, it turns out the insurance company that works with the USCCA, and people need to understand a USCCA membership works with an insurance company that provides self-defense liability insurance as part of your USCCA membership. There's so much more than the insurance, but the insurance company works with that. And for those people who don't know, Kayla Giles shot and killed a man, either her husband or ex-husband, back in 2018, and as a result of this, she was convicted for second-degree murder and obstruction of justice. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but the accusation is that the USCCA didn't help her, and that couldn't be further from the truth, first of all. So the very first thing that happened was that her USCCA member benefits kicked in, and the insurance company provided $50,000 for the initial coverage.
Wow. That's not talked about.
They provided $50,000, and I will point out too that even though we have language that is required by the insurance commissioners of all 50 states to claw back money if we deem we need to, no one, the insurance company, the USCCA, Delta Defense, which operates the USCCA and all that stuff, nobody ever asked for that $50,000 back. That was out there. through the course of discovery and being involved in law enforcement, you guys know what happens in discovery.
Yep.
Lots of other information came out. And the insurance company was like, hang on a minute. This is not
something passing the sniff test.
This is not a legitimate self-defense case.
Right.
And the insurance company decided that they could not legally go forward and represent, provide the insurance benefits for Kayla Giles in this case. And that's how it happened. People are accusing the USCCA of dropping her. She was never dropped by the USCCA. She was a USCCA member all the way through until 2019, when her USCCA membership expired for lack of payment. She did not rejoin the USCCA.
Good to know.
Yeah, and that was following her conviction.
Right.
She was convicted again for second-degree murder and obstruction of justice. So there's some good videos out there. It was made by neutral parties, just going down this litany of information that was like, wow, wait a minute. We need to stop and talk about this, about what really happened.
Right.
As the evidence played itself out, as the evidence was made clear to people, it's like, this was not a self-defense incident, and therefore could not be covered.
A lot of people don't understand that there is a process when the legal system looks at a situation, and sometimes the judge won't allow it to be a self-defense case because of whether it be a preponderance of the evidence or whatever the standard is in that particular jurisdiction.
Yeah. And to be fair, the judge did not say no, she couldn't claim self-defense. It was the insurance company who looked at this and said, this is not going to fly. This is not going to make it as a self-defense case. And they were right. It didn't make it as a self-defense case. And I'll leave you the link to that video if you guys want to post that, and other people can watch it. It's a long video. It's 45 minutes of evaluation of this case. But some of the things that Kayla Giles did leading up to this event, where she ended up shooting her husband, or ex-husband, I can't remember. I should have looked closer at their marital relationship at the time, in front of her daughter. As this all played itself out, she was reviewing, doing internet searches on how to be involved in self-defense cases or justifiable homicide or things like that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then as this all played out, she was asking her friends for guns. Mm-hmm. She was under a protection order, a domestic abuse protection order, her and her husband at the same time. They both had competing orders. So she left Louisiana and went to Texas with her Texas concealed carry permit and bought a gun there. And she joined USCCA just days before this event, and then tried to hide all the evidence afterwards. So
when you think of stuff like that, at some point, and if you don't know the facts like we're talking about, and you look at it from the outside, you think, oh, the USCCA dropped it because they didn't think they'd win the case, or they got sick of spending money on the case. Well, if you look at the facts in that case, it sounds almost clear cut. I mean, she lost in court. That it comes down to her literally trying to find a way to kill her husband and then get off, or at least have an attorney to try to get her off of that. So, I mean, you can't go out and rob a bank, and just before you rob the bank, you end up getting an attorney saying, hey, I'm going to go rob a bank, just so you know, and I want you to get me off.
And no place in the United States is it legal to insure illegal activity.
Right.
And we have to deal with that as part of a company that, as part of our membership program, has self-defense liability insurance involved in that. So as they looked at this, they're like, hang on, wait a minute, this isn't going to wash. I want to let people know now too that, again, this was a long time ago. The company was able to, and they're allowed to, it happens all the time, to look at what happens and decide whether or not, as they get more information, if they're going to continue with this coverage. And hearing about this, the USCCA has continued to improve their coverage and change things over the years.
Right.
So that's an important element to this too. But it was a tragic case all around. I mean, a man is dead. A child had to watch it. A woman is in prison for life. And the accusation that USCCA member benefits were removed from her, That's not true. There's a lot more to this story, and it's out there. She appealed. She sued the USCCA and the insurance company for violation of contract. All of these things were dismissed. They were thrown out of court. The appeals didn't stand up, and so
she lost on appeal too.
She lost on appeal. She filed a federal lawsuit for breach of contract because she said that she should have been covered, and the judge was like, "Nope, absolutely not. You should not be covered."
That's important because you got multiple layers of the government, multiple layers of companies, basically saying like this is not a cut and dry. This is, or it is a cut and dry in the sense that you literally try to find a way to kill your husband and get away with it,
and have somebody else pay for the defense.
Right.
And truly, the insurance company couldn't do that. The insurance company would be breaking the law if they were allowed to do that. And there's something else that people need to understand when you look at this. She was sentenced to life in prison for this second-degree murder. She was also sentenced for obstruction of justice. And as a law enforcement officer, you've heard of people get sentenced for obstruction of justice.
Yep.
What's the worst you've ever heard for somebody on obstruction of justice?
Lie about where you were.
And stuff like that. Well, I heard of one case in our county. A guy got 9 months extra in jail for obstruction of justice.
Minimal.
Jay Giles got 30 years.
Just for obstruction of justice.
On the obstruction of justice count.
Wow.
30 years was added to that sentence.
Yeah.
So, and all of that information is available in the court records through the appeals process. It's all online now. People can go search for it, and they can see all of these elements that happen and look at them right there.
And you would hope that some of these other YouTubers and stuff out there would actually do that research, so they're giving out as much realistic and true to the fact information as possible.
And that's what I'm finding out a lot of them are. A few people aren't, and it's real easy. I say this all the time, don't believe the hype.
For sure.
You see something out there, like,
social media, it's got to be true.
It's super easy to get mad at a group like the USCCA and like the insurance company that's providing this self-defense liability insurance without looking at all of the elements, the totality of the circumstance.
Sure.
This whole thing came together, and you know what? We, as the USCCA, I work with the USCCA, we did what we could, and then we had to stop, and it was clear to the insurance company that, you know what, this wasn't going to fly. She was still a USCCA member. Nobody ever canceled her USCCA membership or anything like that. It just expired again for her not payment. All of the appeals were denied. All of the extra lawsuits were dismissed out of hand.
So at what point, where did it go through? Are you able to talk about at what point did the USCCA and the insurance company say, okay, this is obviously, she did this on purpose, she lost. Did it go all the way up to her trial where she was convicted? Or did it go into the appeal as far as the attorneys paying attorney fees? So you said $50,000 went towards it.
$50,000 was immediately.
Okay.
And that happens when USCCA members call the CRT, the crisis response line. We immediately provide that retainer, and then as all of the information, as all of the evidence came through, not just information, but evidence came through in the discovery phase of all of this stuff, the insurance company looked at that and said, this is not going to go. Right. This is not going to be a self-defense incident. Since then, the USCCA has looked at their coverage options and changed everything. And our self-defense shield, our self-defense liability insurance changes and gets improved every year. So things are different now as the insurance companies look at that. But back in 2018, the insurance company was like, no, we can't do this.
This makes me think of, I guess cut and dry, and this just popped in my head, insurance fraud. It's insurance fraud. You literally you literally get an account, become a member, knowing you're going to be covered, and then you go plot and actually carry out killing of your husband, ex-husband, whatever, and then want to cash in on an insurance claim to be able to, right? I mean, it'd be no different than taking an insurance policy out on somebody and shooting them and getting them the money. It's the exact same thing.
And getting a home policy and
then burning your house down. That's actually what I was thinking.
And I'm a big fan when other people, there's other folks out there who do not like the USCCA because we insure people, because the insurance coverage provides for self-defense. I'm a big fan of people getting the best possible legal representation. But legally, the insurance company was not allowed to cover her under that because of all of this evidence that came in. And the detractors, the people who are complaining about what the USCCA member benefits and what the insurance company did, are not telling everybody else all of the other stuff that happened coming up to this. They're just saying, USCCA washed their hands. No, we didn't.
So you said you said insurance company. When it comes to the insurance company, the insurance is. Let me put it this way: I went through something similar with my current insurance company for my training company, firearms company, Type 7 Class 2 FFL, and they revisited the policy. They went from $80 a month to like $120 a month. They almost doubled the price in my insurance, and they reinstated me. But they said, "Well, we're gonna revisit it." Didn't hear anything. Asked for a COI to teaching a class actually next weekend, and then they said, "Oh, we're going to do an audit. Provide all this information by Tuesday." And I'm like, "Tuesday? I'm going to be like at SHOT Show." And so going through this, like, well, we'll give you a little bit more time. We need to reevaluate what we're insuring you for. Oh, and by the way, your policy's over at the end of the year. So 11 months. At least they gave me 11 months. So now I'm looking for an insurance policy to insure me as an instructor in New York State, which is hard to get.
I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
And, just going through that, and when I said to my broker or whatever, I was like, this is ridiculous. They're not insuring my training company. I mean, this is just another infringement on the Second Amendment. They go, well, it's a business, and if they see there's liability in the firearms industry, they decide to get out of that industry. I mean, can you blame them? And I was like...
Yeah, they have their actuarial tables, and they look at how much they might have to pay out, how much it costs like that.
Right.
And at USCCA, we revisit the coverage that comes with USCCA memberships with our insurance company and the insurance company that we work with every year. And every year we try to make it better, make it work better, give the USCCA members more of what they say they want and what they need and things like that. And I need to get back to this. At the time of this case, in 2018, this is what could be done legally. The USCCA did everything they could do legally. The insurance company cannot insure illegal acts.
Right.
And it was clear to the people who were looking at this that this is an illegal act.
Right.
The claim of self-defense is not going to be, accepted by the court. And lo and behold, the insurance company was right. It was not accepted by the court. And not only that, but they're like, not only did she do this, she tried to cover it up as well with the obstruction of justice charge.
Yeah, there's a lot surrounding that. It doesn't really seem like it's getting out there. So we're glad you're helping us get it out there.
And again, we never dropped her as a member. She was still a USCCA member. If there had been another self-defense incident that was a legitimate self-defense incident. That one specific incident. The insurance company called up and said, you know what, looking at all this, we can't do this now. Now that coverage and the stuff the way that we're doing it now in 2024 has changed, and I can't speak for the insurance company. They're going to look at it, but now what we're saying is now the court's going to decide whether or not this is a legitimate insurance claim, and the insurance company will roll through like that. So coverage always gets better. We're always looking at figuring out ways to make it better. This is one incident in many, many cases that we've gone through that things are working really well.
Yeah, I personally know a few individuals who have had to use the benefit, and they've said nothing but excellent things about the service that was provided and the help that was provided. I mean, going through something like that is an incredible experience, and to know that someone has your back in that case it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary to have the confidence to protect yourself. The folks that are playing the naysaying and the negativity are really just preying upon the emotional tidbit of information just to get people riled up to draw more attention. Really, I mean that's what it is.
And
clicks,
likes, discussion, engagement. I get that. I understand it. It is a business. People are in business, and we have competitors, and we are their competitors and stuff like that. But we need to make sure that for the longest time we were just quiet. The idea was we're going to take the high road. This is her case. This happened to her. This is a terrible tragedy. We're not going to talk about it. Okay. But it just keeps coming around, and not all the information is there. So now it's all out there.
People can the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned there was two cases. You want to talk about the other one?
There's a second case, a guy named Alan Coley, who was accosted by a YouTube prankster in a mall.
Yep.
And he ended up shooting the YouTube prankster. and I'm hoping maybe that stops all YouTube pranksters now or something like that. But he ended up shooting the YouTube prankster, getting arrested for his actions, and charged with reckless endangerment or something like that, and all sorts of things. And again, the claim is that USCCA and his member benefits and our insurance company did not cover him. And I don't know why Alan Coley did not accept the initial offer for help. There was a call made. He called in. Someone called in to the USCCA emergency hotline.
Yep.
We offered to help. There was no return contact after that. We several times we tried to get this back, and he opted, as is his choice, to go with a public defender. He went with a public defender. He was exonerated for, it was found that he acted in self-defense, but then in a crazy turn of events, he was then charged with and convicted of a crime of firing his gun in a public place. Basically, that was it. But he did it in self-defense, but he fired it. So he appealed this. The USCCA member benefits are helping him with his appeal.
Wow.
He has always been a USCCA member. He is currently a USCCA member. He was not abandoned. We don't know why he didn't utilize his member benefits immediately. Someone's going to have to ask him. But we're handling the appeal. We're helping him with all of that sort of stuff. And if a civil case ever comes out of this, USCCA member benefits help with that as well.
That's an interesting detail that you hear nothing about.
Right. That he is still a USCCA member. And we are helping as this case moves forward in the appeal process, because it doesn't make any sense that the court can say you acted in self-defense, but you're not allowed to act in self-defense. So,
we had a case like that in New York where a guy used his dead father's handgun and shot 2 intruders in the home. The DA didn't charge him with self-defense. Castle Doctrine was alive and well in New York, but he charged him with 4th-degree criminal possession of a firearm.
Because it was his
father's dead father's handgun. And it's so he's fine to shoot the guys, but he just can't use this tool. Sometimes it's like ludicrous.
And that sort of situation is, people are leaving out the important elements of the information on the Alan Coley story, is that he is still a USCCA member, and his USCCA member benefits are helping him through this process. We don't know why the initial phone calls weren't returned to us. This prompted us to do something that we think is very important now. We're very active in telling our members, make sure your family knows that you are a USCCA member.
Right.
If you bought a USCCA membership to cover yourself and your family doesn't know about it, and you wind up in jail, that's just going to slow the process down until you can finally get in touch with them. So we've taken very active steps to make sure that, hey, wait a minute, we don't want this kind of stuff to ever happen again, because this guy's a member in good standing. He always has been a member in good standing, and we're helping him now. Why that help wasn't accepted at the beginning, we don't know. Someone can ask him. I'd love to hear that, but obviously it was a very traumatic situation for him. He's not talking about it, so other people are basically making stuff up, taking a piece of it.
Well, that's the world we live in these days.
Yeah.
Right? Make stuff up and let them refute it. Isn't that the media? So you've been in the media for a long time, right?
Yeah, and it's not my part of the media.
No. But
I do in-depth reporting.
Old school reporting though. I like to get your take on it.
Yeah.
3 sources before you can run with a story.
Right. If your mom tells you that she loves you, give me a corroborating source.
Right, exactly. It ain't that way anymore, is it?
No.
This way now it's like, let's run with it, and if we're wrong, we'll get sued and we'll recant, or we'll say we're sorry, or we'll just ignore it until they sue us and win, and then maybe we'll settle, or it's ridiculous.
And understand that what's happening, these YouTube videos, they're not news reporting. This is people's marketing efforts. And the people who are putting this stuff out are marketing their business by claiming that USCCA member benefits did not help someone. And by not telling the whole story, they can assist their own marketing. And then we got to go out and then try to tell the whole story. And again, these are very private, intense situations for the people who are involved. They might not want everybody talking about them and what's going on, and we certainly can't share anything that might be attorney-client privilege or anything like that. But the whole story's not out there. And on the Alan Coley story, he's a member. He always was a member. He never got dropped. I don't know why he didn't utilize his member benefits right away, but he's certainly utilizing them now.
This hits close to home. I've been a member since 2013. And you know, you're an Oldsmobile man, you're a Ford man, whatever. I'm a USCCA man. And when I hear other people speak against something that I truly believe in, I investigated and looked into it. And when I did, it's just like you said, there was so much more to this story. And so I think it's important for anyone that's considering to invest their money in some type of service that might protect their family financially. It's really important to kind of see what their character is like.
Yeah.
And I can say, you know, with the USCCA, everyone I've met, you know, yourself included, everyone believes in helping people to protect themselves, exercise the Second Amendment. And I think going and doing business with a company that is building their reputation upon attacking others, I'd just say, hey, it's a free market economy, do what you want, but maybe consider that, because if they'll attack someone else to get your business, how well will they protect you when it's going to cost them money?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand it's you know, a product world like that, and you know, vet the stuff you're watching, vet the stuff you're listening to. You know, like this. You know, we had you on because we wanted to get as much of the facts out there as we can, so people can make an educated decision. And if one company goes, or one YouTuber or whatever, you know, influencer goes from one company to another, and then they're pimping this other company and disparaging the other one, well, maybe you need to look into, you know, the way that they're, you know, presenting themselves and what they're doing. You know, we try not to talk bad about products and, you know, talk bad about people. We try to live our life and, you know, get the government off our back and
amen
live free.
to that.
You know, Grandpa always said, ask a couple more questions.
Yeah. And in closing, I'd say your mom also used to say, don't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Right? Kevin?
Sounds good. Thank you.
It's always good having you, Frank.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Good seeing you.
Hey, check out the USCCA and give them your business.
Hello, my name is Klint Macro, co-founder and administrator of National Train a Teacher Day. National Train a Teacher Day is a grassroots movement of volunteer firearms, safety, first aid, and defense instructors that offer free training to teachers, school staff, administrators, and those that work with youth in a leadership capacity. We do this every year on National Train a Teacher Day. This year marks the 8th annual National Train a Teacher Day, and we'll be observing it on Saturday, June 21st, 2025. That's Saturday, June 21st, 2025. Over the years, hundreds of volunteer instructors have trained thousands of teachers, school staff, administrators, and those that work with youth in a leadership capacity. If you fit that bill, or if you know someone that does, we encourage you to visit or have them visit the website, which is nationaltrainateacherday.com, and connect with a local instructor and take advantage of this fantastic free training opportunity. We'd like to thank our volunteers, our partners, and our sponsors for helping make National Train a Teacher Day a success each year. But most of all, we want to thank you, the teachers, school staff, administrators, and youth leaders who take the time to empower themselves with information to better protect those that they educate, and that is our children. Visit the website, spread the word, and we will see you on National Train a Teacher Day, Saturday, June 21st, 2025. Thanks.
There's lots of sponsors that make this show possible, like Mantis, Next Level Training, Blake Henry, like
XS Sites.
Check them out and give them your business.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Henry Repeating Arms. Made in America or not made at all. XS Sites. Fast sights in any light. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, organizations, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the show.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and click that little bell thingy so you know when the next episode's coming out. Support us on Patreon. Come to one of our classes. Host us to come to you and do one of our classes at your location.
And until next time,
Adieu.
Thank you for watching Meet the Pressers.